Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff and Tam McManus are here with me. We're delighted that you could join us on the channel. And don't forget, PLZ Soccer 24/7. You'll get content, you'll get all the breaking stories. And if you download the PLZ Soccer app as well, you can watch the programme on your phone or your tablet. And you can also go into submissions and send us messages as well. We try and read out as many of them as we possibly can. You can actually record yourself posting a message as well. Oh, how things have changed, Ruffy, from your days just on the radio saying, hello, who's that calling?
Yeah, things have moved on so quickly, haven't they? And even after game interviews have really expanded as well. It's just out there for everybody now, isn't it? There's that many avenues of where you can get caught.
Absolutely, it's hard to believe. Absolutely, it's hard to believe 10 years ago, Ruffy. 10 years ago, you were kicking the cable out when we were going live.
Yes, I remember that. I don't know which one was worse, Parkhead or Hibs. No, I think the Hibs one was worse.
Yeah.
The Hibs one was worse because the game was actually happening while I'd kicked us off here. I'll try to get reconnected and I'm going, please don't score. Please don't anybody score.
These things happen, everybody gets it. A big hi to everyone, Gregor, Robert, Thomas as well, who joins us, David, Billy, who's always with us supporting us, Mark and Jockey. Great to have so many people joining us, of course. Listen, don't worry if you don't get the show live. You can get it at your own time, your own leisure. When you've got that spare time, get it up on the big screen, on the telly, on YouTube, and you can watch all our other unique content, and there's more to come. We'll be bringing you video news, we'll be bringing you one-to-ones, special interviews, exclusives, competitions coming up, Ruffy, and we're going to be giving away some fabulous merchandise as well. This is an exciting time in the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, sure it is. Everybody loves to win a prize, don't they? Everybody, and some of the stuff that you've been giving away has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, we don't know what's round the corner, do we?
Yeah, well, you don't.
iPads,
I can tell by your face you don't know what's coming round the corner.
If you wake up in the morning, it's a bonus.
That's Hugh McDonald. Yeah, absolutely. Are you one of those lucky people, Tam? Do you win things?
No, I'm the opposite.
No?
As you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonah, which is just maybe now's the time to let him go. Before we all go under. Anyway, apart from anything else, lots to talk about, including, of course, I think you set a few people on the angry mode, Tam, with regards to Hibs last week. And of course, on Monday, Ruffy was all for giving Jack Ross, 2 or 3 games that just didn't materialise.
Yeah, as I said, I feel sorry for Jack. I think he's in the job 10 weeks. It's not a long time. I think the players have got to carry the can for that. I know he signed some of them, but the effort levels, I feel, over the last 2 or 3 games that I've seen have been nowhere near it, to get a result. And it's not just the Alkmaar away, the 7-0 and the Celtic 9-0. It's losing 3-0 at home to St Mirren, Dundee United, losing 1-0 at home to Livingston. They're the results that probably contributed more to him getting the sack, because if you win the 2 games, you can get away with the 7-0 or the 9, particularly the 9-0, because you'll still be sitting mid-table, but to lose some amount of goals and nobody scoring, and the players look as if they're down tools. It all ends up with the manager getting the bullet, and it happened to me at Dunfermline with Stephen Kenny. We lost 3 games, 3-0, 4-0 and 5-0, and he get the bullet as well. And you feel for the manager because you feel responsible, and I'm sure some of the Dundee United players, when they look at the mirror, I'm sure they'll feel responsible for Jack leaving as well. Yeah,
can I ask you, as a player in the dressing room, when you've lost 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, is there a moment where, and I don't like the phrase the manager's lost the dressing room, but is there a moment where you think, listen, his plans are just not right?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're a selfish player, I was a selfish player, I think you blame everybody else. You blame the manager, you blame the training, you blame this, you blame that. I think if you're honest and you look in the mirror and you can I be doing better? And I think that if the obvious answer is yes, and there's 10 or 11 players looking in the mirror and saying that, then the manager's got no chance. So I don't think players down tools. I think that the confidence just erodes quickly from a team. When you're getting a down, week after week, the confidence just erodes, and the fans get on your back and you're not wanting the ball, and it just snowballs into eventually, inevitably, I think the manager losing the job, because that's what happens. They can't sack all the players. They can't get rid of the players. The guy that carries the can is the manager, and that's why I feel sorry for Jack after only being in the job 10 weeks.
Yeah, it's a cruel business, and of course Dundee United's statement was short and sweet and straight to the point. So who they get in is the difficult part of this. There's that statement on Jack Ross: such actions are never taken lightly. As a board, we took a period of reflection and information gathering after Sunday's game before coming to our decision. This has been a horrendous run of results for the club, and for that we apologise unreservedly to our fans. However, it's my belief that the tools and infrastructure remain in place for us to achieve success on the field. I'm confident the players, staff, executive team and board currently in place are the ones to take us forward alongside a new head coach. I can assure you I share your craving for success and certainly expect we will again soon be seeing performances in which we can all be proud. So we're now in a dilemma here where everybody's questioning, and we talked about it yesterday as well, Ralphie, whether American owners basically are adopting a policy of, if you're Sean Maloney, you've got 19 games, but if you're Jack Ross, you've got 7. You better make sure it's, at least, as Tam says, giving you a couple of results or you're out.
Yeah, I think they do want success, not more than anybody else, but they want it quicker than anybody else. You know, they want to see results. They want to see, you know, their team. If we're talking about Dundee United, they want to see them up there, 3rd, 4th in the league. They're miles away from that. I think we would all agree that the players they brought in at the beginning of the season were all quality players. I don't think any has said about any player he brought in, whether it was Levitt or Fletcher or whoever. You know, we all said, well, that's a good signing. Oh, he's doing well there. You know, they look as if they keep your eye on them. They look as if they're going places. But when you get these bad results, you know, that's when you get a reaction. But I think the biggest reaction of all the Celtic game was the Dundee United fans leaving at half-time.
Yeah, well, Martin,
the goal, they just exodus right out the door, and that's when you get a reaction above.
Well, I heard whispers of unrest in the dressing room, wee bit of arguments here and there, which who cares, that happens. Marlon says maybe you're reading too much into it, but Nicky Clark, who obviously joined St Johnstone, says it helps to feel wanted. Now, sometimes you get better answers from what players don't say than what they do say. You know, when they don't thank, nobody gets thanked. For example, when Christopher Julian left, didn't thank Ange Postecoglou. So you look at that, you think, okay, he's slightly miffed. Nicky Clark maybe, has been shunted out. Players who don't get a game, when the new manager comes in, suddenly start telling you exactly how it is after he's gone. And when the chairman said there was some information gathering. Dundee United and Dundee up there is, honestly, I kid you not, it's like a group of sweetie wives. Yeah, they're all up there with that many people who backstab. It defies belief. Yeah, I think that's a hard part of management, I think, is to keep the players that are not playing happy. And I'm not surprised Nicky Clark, listen, I've been at clubs as well where you leave, the manager doesn't fancy you, leave, you're not going to thank the manager for binning you. But that's the hard part. And Jack at Tannadice, a lot of players not playing. Experienced players. He dropped them all against Celtic. McGrew was on the bench, Tony Watt on the bench, Nicky Clark on the bench. So I think that's the hard part. And when you're not getting results, experienced players can not conspire, but they can start chatting to each other and trying, and the dressing room can get poisoned. So I'm not saying that's what happened in Tannadice, but it can happen. It's happened in dressing rooms that I've been in. So I think that's the hard part. And when players leave, Nicky Clark's been a great servant for Dundee United, but I think he's went and got a 3-year deal at St Johnstone. Good move for him at his age, so I think he'll do well there. But Dundee United, they've got quality, they've got experienced players, they've got good young players. They should be doing a lot better than they are. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks to so many of you for obviously just passing on your best wishes to us all and how you watch the show on a regular basis. We really appreciate your support. Who do you think is going to be the next Dundee United manager? And elsewhere, you can give us your thoughts on last night's Premier Sports Cup ties, because Rangers eased past Queen of the South. Okay, it was 1-1 at one point, but I think Rangers scored 3 goals, all with passing inside Queen of the South box. Yeah, it seems to be even the younger players that come in. I would think that the Rangers B team that play in the Lowland League play exact same style as the first team. That generally what's happened. So they know exactly if they get a chance to come into the team, this is the kind of style of football they have to play. And it looked like that last night. They were all comfortable on the ball, as you said.
interchanging the passing and the crucial areas. They were all up for it. And I'm sure the younger boys that got a game last night would take a lot of experience away from playing in front of a big crowd, which they won't get week in, week out. So that can be the plus, but certainly one of the goals was very, very well taken.
Yeah, absolutely. The Queen of the South goal certainly was a peach, lovely little chip. But Rangers, you have to give other players a little run out, Tam, because it's such an important game this weekend. I mean, I always remember Ian Crocker starting off the commentary in one of the Rangers Celtic games, and he says, what is the most important Old Firm game of all time? The next one. And this is it coming up.
Yeah, I think that Rangers just wanted to get through last night without any problems, any injuries to key players. They rested most of their team. They gave some young players an opportunity, which was great. Young Robbie Orr, that's a moment he'll always remember in his first goal for Rangers. So I think Rangers obviously won the game comfortably. Great goal from Queen of the South, probably the goal of the game, but they'll get in this morning and they'll be preparing for Saturday at Parkhead. Totally different kettle of fish, totally different team, but the main objective last night for Rangers, no injuries, give some young players some game time and look ahead and get into the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are in the next round, but suddenly they're just looking here about certain players that might be staying, might be going. One of them is Nikola Katic. Rangers confirmed the departure of Katic. He's gone to FC Zurich on a permanent deal for an undisclosed fee. So Katic no longer part of the future at Ibrox. What about Morelos? This is what Giovanni Van Bronckhorst had to say about Alfredo Morelos. I had a good chat with him on Sunday. He had a good week to train, but also to think about his future. I had a good talk with him. As I said before, he's still a Rangers player. I think he's going to be important for us in the next months. And this season, I saw a change in his attitude, the way he worked. He has to keep and continue working like this for the next coming months to be the player he can be and a player who can give us a lot. So quite clearly from that, he's staying, Ruffy.
Yeah, he's staying because he's worth a lot of money to the club. That they don't want to see him leaving and getting nothing for the return that he's given them and they've given him. And we all know he's a proven goal scorer, so if he gets on the park again and starts scoring goals, they'll get money for him. They'll maybe double the money if he's not playing. So it has to be handled very, very carefully. If he's in the last year of his contract, I think you might see something in January. But to get him back on board, I'm sure the fans would be happy with that.
Yeah, I wonder if he's fit enough to play any part in the game on Saturday. It's one of those games where you need everybody. I think the one thing that's become more and more prominent, certainly last season and definitely this season, Tam, is this game is like every game in England and up here, it's a squad game now.
It's a squad game, particularly with the 5 substitutes. You can basically change half your team, during the game. So your bench has got to be strong. You've got to have players on the bench who you can turn around and go, he can go on. You've got 4 or 5 who will not weaken the team when you put them on. And I think Celtic and Rangers have both got that at the minute. I think Morelos, he'll be on the bench. I don't think Rangers are particularly well covered up front. Cholak's obviously scoring goals, but if anything happens to him, they're a bit thin up there. So I think that Morelos will be on the bench, and as you said, it's a squad game. It might come down to substitutions in the game. After an hour, if it's still tight, 0-0, 1 each, you look to your bench and the substitutes could win you the game.
Yeah, Hugh Scott says, Peter, no surprise his attitude has changed. There's a chance to play Champions League this season and put himself in the shop window if he performs, but it needs to continue. Obviously, he needs to perform. He needs to step up to the plate because this story could have unfolded oh so differently, Ruffy. If Rangers had not managed to get that goal, if they were out of the Champions League group stage, I think a lot of people would have looked on Alfredo Morelos in another light.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. The Rangers supporters would feel he'd let the club down, and particularly if they'd went out of Europe as well, he would have got the main brunt of that, But as I just said a couple of minutes ago, you get him back playing in Europe, and you get him in Europe, and you get him to the form that he was in last year in Europe. I mean, he opened a lot of people's eyes on how good he is, and if you're attracting European football, teams see you playing against the top sides, and if you do well, your value just goes up and up. At the moment, at this precise moment, is down where Rangers don't want it to be, but they know if he gets back to where he is and they're playing that European football, the money will go back up again.
No, I totally agree. Listen, he's got to get himself in shape, and he's got to get back into the team. I think that Rangers will be quite happy. They've got plenty of money now in the Champions League. I don't think there's been a mad rush for Rangers to sell him. Desperately needing the money. If he runs his contract down, he runs his contract down. As long as he's playing in the team. Morelos will want to get himself the best move he possibly can. And the best way to do that is by being in the team at Rangers, being in the Champions League, scoring goals, and he goes and gets himself a massive move. At the end of his contract on a free. I don't think he'll sign a new deal at Rangers. I think he's done his time there, and if he runs his contract, I don't think Rangers would take £1 million, £2 million in January. I think they would just be prepared to let him run his contract down and leave on a free, because I think financially the club's in a much better state than it was the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'll tell you, as Rangers prepare for this game on Saturday, and Celtic obviously will be playing tonight up at Dingwall. We'll hear from our reporter Adam Binney shortly on that, but it's a tough one to call this season, because I think both sides are playing football that's pleasing on the eye to their own fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think going into the game, I think attacking wise, I think Celtic are more dangerous. I think they've got players in there that can hurt you, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I haven't seen this Celtic defence being tested by anybody yet. I don't think I've had to sit back in numbers and shows they can defend. The back four, we don't know what they're like under pressure, because they're going forward all the time. They're just attacking. So until they come up against, I would say, a Rangers team or a really good European side, we're not really going to know how really good they are defensively. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, they've only lost one goal, or they've done this and they've done that, but in our league they don't get tested by any of the teams. So it'll be interesting to see how much pressure Rangers can put on them, and see what they can stand up, because I know the Celtic won at the weekend. There was a couple of times in the Dundee United game where Dundee United may get a couple of goals, and when you play against better quality, sometimes they teams take their chances. So it's a big one for both of them.
Just out of curiosity, I know you say that, but everybody gets a couple of chances. That's what you want in games. I mean, they've got the best defensive record in the country.
I kind of agree with Ruffy to a certain extent that they haven't been tested yet, and I think they're going to come up against the best team they've played all season. And I think that Rangers have been, maybe they're hardened a little bit more to playing top teams. They just come through 2 games against PSV Eindhoven, for example. Celtic have cruised every game basically, so it's interesting to see. But you would still fancy Celtic home advantage, and the way they've played against Rangers at home under Ange, they blew them away last year. Game was done by half time, and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was obviously just in the door, so they'll be hoping that they can keep it tighter than they did in that game.
Well, I'm glad you pointed that out. We're going to talk about the other games, including Ruffy's side, but I must just ask you this. I don't know if you remember, Tam, there was a programme called The Golden Shot in the 60s. Do you remember that programme? No. Your dad and your mum would remember it. Basically, you'll remember it, Ruffy, where basically they did a crossbow, and the contestant had the chance to shoot the crossbow at the target, and then they could obviously win some prizes. We might start that for you on the programme, because when the programme starts, you're upright and you stand there, and then slowly but surely you just start leaning towards me. He goes like this. He's like John Gielgud reading poetry, and he's just you eventually look as if
do you know
what it's like? It's like the Godfather when the hitman's done somebody and he's still just lying in the chair, and then eventually he goes like this. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay then, because I've noticed a lot of people mentioning, including our producer, who's basically every now and then saying to me, can you check and see if he's still breathing, which is why I brought the mirror with
Weekend at Bernie's, remember that film?
Yes, Weekend at Ruffy's. Well, can I just say something? Once the fly stops just going around your head, and we're hitting you with a spatula. So, with that in mind, no, the reason I mentioned that, and you picked up on the point just on the Celtic Rangers thing before we go on to the other matches, is the unknown is how Rangers and Celtic are going to approach this. That's the big dilemma for me, because everybody's going to get chances, Ruffy. I don't agree with the logic on it, because quite simply the stats are all you can look at, and Celtic's defensive record is the best in the country. The biggest problem I have is how Rangers approached the game, Tam, because as you mentioned, Giovanni's first game in charge, Rangers sat off Celtic, and Celtic just was like a wave after wave, whereas I think Rangers have got 2 or 3 players that if they go in a more positive route to Celtic Park, they can hurt Celtic, because they've done it to European teams. They should look at it as a European match and think, you know, when the time's right, take the fight to Celtic, because if they do the same as they did in Giovanni's first one, they're going to get steamrollered, because this team looks as if they're firing on all cylinders right now under Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, I don't see Rangers going there and just sitting back in a low block. I think that Rangers will try and get up the pitch as much as they can and hit Celtic in the counter attack. You know, Celtic's fullbacks are going to bomb forward. You know, they're going to be a lot of interchange in the wide areas, and I think that's where Rangers can get joy. I think on the break, particularly with Ryan Kent, great ball carrier, great pace. You know, he's done the damage at Parkhead before, he scored goals. So I think that he'd have learned a lot from, you know, the tactics that night. You know, I think it was 3-0 at half time. Hatate got a couple of goals, so I don't think you'll see a Rangers team sitting back and trying to play, you know, in a low block. I think they'll try and get at Celtic as well, and I think it will make for a very open attacking game, because when Celtic go forward and they lose the ball, I think there's going to be real danger at the other end.
Yeah, Ruffy, do you understand where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, I just think Celtic get more goal scoring options than Rangers. I think Rangers are relying on 1 or 2, where Celtic have got 3 or 4, you know, from up front and the midfield areas. Once again, it's the pace they play at, you know, and I mean, although I'm saying Celtic haven't been tested, I think it's a test for Rangers as well. I think Rangers have experienced what they're going to get at Parkhead with the players, that the speed that they pass at Celtic, you know, and the movement they've got. So I think it's a test for both sides. So that's what's going to make it really interesting to see who handles the different styles of play.
Yeah, and I must just mention here, it's 22 minutes past 4 on our live feed. Don't worry if you're watching it later on, but Johnny's gone early. Johnny's gone 3-2 to Rangers. That's the first one I've hit. That's the first one, I think, on the entire feed where somebody's decided to go early on the predictions.
I can see it being
high scoring.
Yes, there's absolutely. You can come back to me next Monday. There's no chance this is going to be a 0-0. Not a danger.
And is there any kind of forfeit?
There'll be £100 to charity if it's 0-0.
What about you wear the entire heart strip, top to bottom?
No.
It's not happening.
No happening, but it's not going to be 0-0. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Even in the 3-0 game, Rangers, obviously Celtic blew them away at half time, but Rangers had quite a lot of chance at the bar in the second half, so I think it's going to be a wide open game. Celtic will believe that they can go and batter Rangers, and I think Rangers will be confident they can beat Celtic, so I don't think you're going to see either team taking a back step, and I think there's going to be a lot of chances and a lot of goals.
Yeah. If I'm sitting in the press box, Ruffy, in the 89th minute, and both of them have cancelled each other out 0-0, I'll not be happy with them. Although I do agree with him.
I don't want to upset the show by asking this question, but I don't want to kill the show, but how many Rangers supporters are getting into this one?
I think there's about 750. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's no longer Ruffy. The God's honest truth. I mean, we've talked about it. We don't want to bore everybody, but it's no longer one of the biggest derbies in the world. It's just a derby without the usual excitement that it used to have. Just down to the narrow-minded boards and their stupidity. So it's no longer that. It's just a great spectacle to watch what's on the park now. The fans have killed it.
And I think home advantage now is huge. You know, you go there. There's 60,000 there. There's going to be about 750 Rangers fans. You know, that advantage that Celtic have got, you know, with the crowd behind them and intimidating the referee as well. Yeah. I think they've got a lot of advantages when you've got the full crowd.
Yep, it's a good point actually. Thanks for lots of people who are giving us their thoughts on how they think it's going to pan out. But nevertheless, I have to say, quite a lot of people, Hugh Scott has said, Peter, what if the forfeit is Tam's wife wearing the full heart strip? Ruffy would be definitely up for that. Could you ask her, Ruffy, and see if that's
I've got a Hearts one. Real Madrid.
No, I wouldn't subject you to it, by the way.
She wear a Rangers one.
Yeah.
She would wear a Rangers one.
Yeah, your wife's a Rangers fan.
She's staunch.
Yes. Is there any other kind?
No, you can't be perfect, but aye, she's a big Rangers fan. Aye.
That's good
Walk
to know,
about
isn't
in
it?
the strip? No, that's
No,
But you wear the scarf, yeah?
Aye,
Scarf,
she likes
yeah.
the scarf.
It's good time, by the way. You need that in life. You need a wee bit of a noise up. With the funny thing about it is, have you ever worn a Heart strip?
I actually played with Hearts before I signed for Hibs.
Did you?
Yes, yeah. Hearts wanted to sign me, and I went to the green side of
Wow.
Edinburgh.
That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, so I did play for
Ruffy?
Hearts a few times at
Yeah.
under 16s.
I've actually played at Ibrox in the Rangers strip, Ruffy. For Sandy Jardine said there was a sponsors thing, and Sandy said, "Are you coming along?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, he said to me, "We've got the strip all ready for you." So I said, "Okay." So I goes into the Rangers home dressing room. And Ali McCoist and Walter Smith had left me a message, and they'd put the strip just under the photograph of the Queen and said, "Can't wait to see you outside." Which is a fabulous noise up. So yeah, listen, that's the joy of the game. It's the joy of, the build up to the game as well. I used to love, and sadly it's no longer going to happen, is I used to love 5 minutes before the start of a Rangers Celtic game, Ruffy, because this is one of the reasons that made it so special around the world, where people could look in on the game, and it was quite simply 5 minutes before the game is about to start. It's almost that Spinal Tap moment where it just, the noise level cranked right up, and the away support got louder and louder, and the home support responded, whether it was Ibrox or Celtic Park, and it just became this cacophony of noise. It was just incredible, but sadly that'll no longer be the case.
No, I mean, I obviously didn't get a chance to go to many Rangers Celtic games while I was still playing, but obviously when I retired and came to a couple of the media games, it's the first thing that hits you. It's that set of supporters and that set of supporters and everything that goes leading up to the game and everything that goes on during the game, and the banter and the singing and everything. It's just an absolute spectacle. I don't see it in many other grounds. I suppose it does happen in some other grounds, but for us, because it's Rangers and Celtic, it's just special.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Walsh is the referee. What's your thoughts?
I hope we're not talking about him on Monday.
Same here.
I hope it's just a good game of football. There's no contentious decisions. Nobody's moaning about this and that. I hope it's just a good game of football and the best team wins. Yeah, I think that's the case. Although by the time we get to possibly the next Old Firm derby, it could be VAR that's in, Ruffy.
Yeah, I'm sure all the referees would welcome that. There's far too many incidents now that we're having a look at, and then we're having a look at it again, then we're having another look at it. We want to get the big decisions, the goal scoring decisions, the penalties, even sending offs correct, and take a bit of pressure off the referees.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget, if you are posting any comments on the big game at the weekend, or indeed your favourite team, try and post messages with an element of decency. We do try to keep it to fans who've got a brain and not those who are bigoted or indeed abusive. So we do try and ban them, and I put that call out to everyone, because football is, after all, only a game. It's a sport, and it's certainly not life and death. But to some people, obviously they can't conduct themselves properly. We do ban them. 99% of the people who are on this programme and listen to it and send us messages, Ruffy, are thoroughly decent people who love their team, whether it's Rangers, Celtic, Partick Thistle, Hearts, Hibs. They like the banter, but they're certainly not abusive.
No, we don't want abusive people, and I'm sure the people who are on, don't want to see it either. You've got to remember that there will be some young kids on there, and it's not the place to be expressing that view.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. Said like a true Partick Thistle board director there, and then on that moment, you must have been delighted last night. 1-0. Dick raging?
No point in raging. They get absolutely hammered. I come in here quite a lot and say we absolutely overran them 1-0, and I think anybody who was at the game has seen it. The chances we had were unbelievable. Team played well, and just the point that Tam was making there, I was complaining about the 5 subs. I thought it was advantage to the bigger sides.
Yeah.
But last night, we used 5 subs at the right time.
Yeah.
5 experienced players who come on, and it turned the game for us.
But you're one of the bigger sides in the Championship.
Biggest squads.
On your
Certainly the biggest squad.
On your budget and the money on your
About
budget,
60
You
players.
have
That's
not
what-
a
listen,
clue what our
on your
budget is.
budget and the money you spend, if you don't win the Championship this year, you should take a long hard look
Do you know
at
who's got a
yourself.
bigger budget than us?
Go on, don't say Arbroath.
Queen's Park.
Now, come on, Ruffy. Ruffy.
Trust me.
Come on.
Trust me.
Well, what for their technical director, not for the players
No.
on the park.
Well-
You're saying Queen's Park are paying more money than you are for the
Yes.
squad that you have.
Yes.
We need to check that one out, Tam. Do you believe that? I must admit, I think that's a Pinocchio, isn't it?
Dundee.
Can't see it.
Dundee.
No, hold on a minute. You said Queen's Park
Aye, and Dundee.
and Dundee
Yeah.
are paying more than you.
Much, yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're going to look into that,
Yeah.
Ruffy. I think there's a wee bit of jiggery pokery
Not at
there. Anyway, did you deserve to win?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
We're now looking forward to the quarter-final time. You see which poor sods get us.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the reason I've said that is because right after the game, after that 1-0 win, Ian McCall was fulsome in his praise of his squad.
I think we've had a really strong start to the season. In the last 3 home games, we've played some great stuff, and great for our supporters to watch that type of football. And it's the strongest squad we've had since 3 years ago when we inherited it wasn't quite the same as it is now.
Well, there's a line. It's the strongest squad he's had. I love the brilliant way that Ian just nicked in there and said the squad we inherited wasn't quite as strong as the one we have now.
Yeah, I think you've got a really good squad. You know, you've got a lot of good young players. You signed a couple for Rangers. You've signed well, and I think you've got a real chance of winning the league this year. But it's Arbroath are toiling a wee bit. You know,
Yeah.
Dick's finding it hard.
Well, not only that, but over and above that, he did mention that the team that they faced last night, obviously his was slightly hampered by the fact that he had a few injuries.
Particularly can't complain about the pitch this year. It was magnificent, and they deservedly go through in the cup. You know, but as I said, I think Christmas has come early for them in terms of my team selection. But that's what I had. That's it. And don't take anything away from them. When you play cup ties, it's all about seeing your name in that hat after it. It doesn't matter how you play. And I thought Patrick were worthy winners.
Yeah, no argument from him. Dick says you were worthy winners, and he is one of those managers who you know, he's not one to come in and try and flannel people.
No, I don't think he had any cause to last night. I think he was there, he saw it for his own eyes. We were the dominant team. Always a very difficult side to break down, which they proved last night. They're the kind of side that you don't want to go behind to, because they all work their socks off for each other. He's got them like that. We've got to go up there on Saturday. It'll be a completely different game, obviously. You know, they've got their own environment up there, and but we're just happy to be in the quarter-final of a cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to be too harsh on Aberdeen. In the end, they got the job done, 4-1 against Annan. But Jim Goodwin did confirm that it looks as if David Bates and Christian Ramirez could be leaving the club before the deadline on September 1st.
Yeah, I think that they're obviously not on the picture. I think they're, you know, both Stephen Glass signings. I think they're knowing the plans at the minute. They're not been playing. I think both of them have won decent money, particularly Bates. You know, coming. I think he came from abroad, so you know he's trying to freshen up the squad. Maybe try to free up some wages to bring some more players in. You know, he's brought in a lot of players. They were full strength last night, so I was surprised that it took them extra time to win, but. You know, they got through in the end, and that's what it's all about, getting to the next round of the hat. But I think they'll be disappointed that they couldn't do it in 90 minutes.
Yeah, Dundee 3, Falkirk 0. Comfortable win for the Dens Park boys.
Yeah, that was a wee test for Falkirk. You know, they're trying to regroup in obviously a lower division. They are a top quality side. They're the kind of side that if they go on a run, they'll get 4,000 and 5,000 at their games, no problem. So, no, I think they'll go away for that game. They'll see where they want to be. Obviously, Dundee have got good quality players in there, and I think everything just went well for them on the night.
Yep. Okay, so Dundee are through, as well as Aberdeen and Rangers. There are fixtures tonight as well. Here's a quick look at the results from last night and the fixtures that are on tonight. So 4-1 to Aberdeen, 3-0 Dundee, Partick Thistle, worthy winners against Arbroath, Rangers through after a 3-1 win over Queen of the South. And for the Premier Sports Cup ties tonight, it's Hearts against Kilmarnock, we'll discuss that shortly, Livingston against Dundee United, Motherwell Inverness, Caledonian Thistle, and it's Ross County against Celtic, and I'm delighted to say up there at Dingwall in the sunshine, no less, yes, in the sunshine, getting ready for the big game, Ross County Celtic, is our very own Adam Binney.
Thanks, Peter. I'm outside the Global Energy Stadium ahead of Ross County's last 16 clash with Celtic in the Premier Sport Cup tonight. It's set up to be a fascinating match for a number of reasons. Celtic, they may have a lot of changes, you would suspect, to their squad, and the next week they've got to host Real Madrid and Rangers, so you would imagine that Ange Postecoglou will make a number of changes to his side with those two matches in mind, although his mantra, of course, is "we never stop," and he will be hoping that Celtic can fight on all four fronts this season across all cup competitions. A little bit of a different one for Ross County. You would imagine that they would have a full strength 11 out tonight. Nothing to look forward to for them in the next week of note. They've really struggled to get a starting 11 secured for each game, with Danda, Samuel, Owura, Edwards, Sims all battling for that number 10 and wide position spots. They really struggled to replace the goals scored by Hungo and Charles Cook from last season. It was, I believe, 16 goals between them. They were involved in more than 50% of all goals. But Ross County, they do love this fixture. They've won 3 out of the 4 last cup ties against Celtic, and the last two of them, coming in this competition. So they'll be right up for it. Malky Mackay, of course, former Celtic player, he'll be right up for it, and someone who else is up for it is me. I'll be there all night tonight, and you can stay up to date with my take on the match across all of PLZ Soccer's social media channels today. So stay up to date across our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram if you'd like to hear more from me. That's all from me. Back to you in the studio, Peter.
Yeah, brilliant. There was a moment there, Ruffy, where there was a silence, and I thought to myself, wow, is Dingwall 5 years behind 5 years behind the rest of the country? But he eventually kicked in. Absolutely magnificent from Adam, who, along with Kerry, will be quite literally scouring the country doing domestic football and Champions League football for us.
Well, as you know, she was covering our game last night, and she was in the media bit with her sunglasses on. The sun was shining, you know, she added a wee bit of glamour to the rest of the boys. I'm sure Parsley won't mind me saying that, but yeah, she's really settled in.
Yeah.
Doing a fantastic job. I think all the media people up there like her. They like her being about the place, and yeah, she's been great.
Yeah, sandwiches, anything, tea, anything. Did you help the PLZ team?
Tunnocks Camel Waver, yeah.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Don't mess about it.
That's brilliant.
Any custard creams at Firhill with the old West End yuppies.
That's exactly it.
Soya milk as well.
That is my best line of the year this year when we played Hamilton at home. And after the game, the other directors came into the boardroom, and we don't put in a lot of... There's food before the game, but after the game there's only biscuits and coffee and tea. And we actually hammered Hamilton, honestly, but they scored first, and we got a goal late on, and we really hammered them. And one of the Hamilton directors came into the boardroom and says, "I'm not hanging about, guys." He says, "But I'll just steal one of your Donald's Camel Waver biscuits, just like we've stole 2 points today."
Can I just say something here? Now, obviously, I listen, more often than not, we absolutely caned them. I'm going to read out this because, you know, obviously, the rat has gone on to pastures new. so Owen McGrandles says, Gabs wasn't my cup of tea. This is an upgrade, both of your new reporters. Now, I have to say to you, Gabs was absolutely top drawer. I really liked Gabs as part of our team. Did you, Tam?
No. I agree with one.
Yeah, I liked Gabs.
Yeah,
I
thought the no socks and the trousers halfway up his leg just done it for me. That interview at Hampden will live with me forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we had him trendy, beautiful suit on, nice tie, and then he walked and the cameras panned back to the trousers were halfway up his legs with his socks.
You know, the funny thing is, Ruffy, when it was panning out, I thought to myself, because I know our audience, and I thought, he's just going to get battered, because no matter how good his report was, and it was a good one, I have to say, yeah, Gabs is great. Listen, there's been so many of the people who've been with us, Tam, they move on to pastures new because we give them the coaching and then they take the money and they run.
Aye, they
not you though, Tam, not you. You're remaining firm at the moment. I've got 20.
Everyone's got their price.
Well, I've got 20 quid on it. Ruffy and I have got the bet. It's only a matter of time. You'll be kissing the bee and you'll be giving us the sign.
Well, if you get me to the Champions League games, it might just,
he's going to Liverpool. What more? Liverpool Rangers.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
That'd be fantastic.
Madrid Celtic as well.
You didn't nearly miss the last one to Man City, to be truthful.
Can I just say something to you? Man City Celtic, I said, this is going to be great. We'll go down in Darren Jackson's beautiful luxury taxi. And Ruffy said, Tam's only just in the door, just cut him out, he's not coming. And I had to agree with him, but nevertheless, the good thing is you don't get as big a team going to Champions League or Europa League games on radio, do you?
No.
They don't really do it anymore. I mean, when we did, the Rangers in the UEFA Cup run in 2008, we were all the way in every game, commentating, scouring across Europe. I mean, it was incredible. I remember sitting in the press box at Bremen for Werder Bremen against Rangers, and I turned around to Darryl King and I thought to myself, I said, how long will this last? Celtic and Rangers in European football, Ruffy. It was incredible, wasn't it?
It was fantastic. I mean, obviously with a radio station who didn't do as much as what you did, the away games, you know, I had the scenario of here we are in the studio. You're beefing it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paris and Bremen and...
Well, the runs for both Celtic and Rangers were absolutely fantastic. But, at PLZ Soccer, we've got a lot of big announcements coming up for you, which I hope you will certainly enjoy and buy into and share the feed of the programme with your friends, because PLZ Soccer is not just about the football show. There's lots more coming, and we've got exciting news 24/7. We'll be there bringing you lots of other different programmes coming on board and different features as well, which we hope you will hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, and you'll get all the notifications of the stuff we are doing. So games tonight. Adam's mentioned it, and of course he's highlighted the fact that Ross County have had a good record in the Cup against Celtic, and Ange Postecoglou is well aware of it.
It's a challenging fixture when I go to Ross County, and they're always a hard team to play against. But in a cup competition, you know that every opponent has potential pitfalls that you can fall into. So we're going to be ready to be at our best.
I wonder if Ange Postecoglou, looking at this game, he's definitely, as Adam highlighted, he's definitely going to give a few fringe players the chance to show what they're made of.
I don't think Malcolm Mackay will be giving fringe players a tie. I think he'll see this as a chance, depending on how many Celtic players they leave out for the weekend. But like Rangers, they've got the quality to come on and show that they are way ahead. It doesn't matter who they put on the map, they are way ahead. But it doesn't matter, every time you go to Ross County, people look at it, this is a chance. Because they are a team up there who will fight everything, right to the end. So you have to be on your game to take something out of Dingwall.
I was impressed with them against Hearts first half, but the one thing that's become evident now, obviously they've managed to get themselves, points on the board, which was crucial. But I think slowly but surely, until these players start to get up to speed, a lot of Ross County fans will be looking and thinking, Hungbo and Regan Charles Cook are a big miss.
Yeah, I think it's pretty early now. They've obviously signed a lot of players, again, younger players from big clubs down south. You're right, going to take time to settle into the league, into the area, probably living in hotels and stuff like that. So I don't think you'll see the best of Ross County maybe until November, December, January. I mean, they're all settled in. So I think this will be a tough game for Celtic, because I don't think Celtic will risk any players at all, that's going to start. I think they'll play pretty much a reserve team. And Ross County will be at full strength, and as we've seen with Ross County against Kilmarnock, they're a physical team. They showed that, Dave. So Celtic won't want to get any injuries. So I think this will be tough for Celtic. I think they'll go through.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a narrow victory, if anything.
Yeah, well, you're right about the team. The early team news coming in, Ruffy. Latchford, McGrain and Lynch starting. So that's a big turnaround for Ange Postecoglou. What do you think? I think Celtic narrowly 2-1.
No, I think Celtic will win 2-0.
I think it'll be a draw. I think Celtic will maybe squeak through in extra time penalties.
Oh, right, interesting.
I think it's a bit of a tight game.
Yeah, Hearts Kilmarnock, Ruffy. Boyce and Rawls out. Big problems. Robbie Neilson, I think, is going to be really active in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, I think so. They've got so much to play for in the league and obviously in Europe as well. And the cup run. Hearts like a cup run. You know, they like to get semi-finals and finals. So, no, I think they'll go for the jugular the night. I know Kilmarnock got something at the weekend, very late on. But it's not the strikers that's scoring, it's centre-half and whoever. So, no, I think Hearts will be flying tonight, and I think they'll win that quite easy.
Yeah, they've got big games coming fast and furious, but Robbie Neilson has mentioned that, you know, back-to-back games that have some meaning is exactly what Hearts should be involved in.
As soon as the players finish the game on Sunday, let's focus on the next game. And, you know, if we want to play at this level, you know, playing European football consistently, get far in cups, you know, this is the rewards of it, and that's the way it should be looked at. It shouldn't be looked at as something we have to do, it's something we want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Players want to play in big games, they want to be involved, and Hearts will want to try and fight on four fronts this season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that obviously Hearts' best opportunity to win anything is the cups. I think you've seen Aberdeen last night, full strength. I think that's your only opportunity. I think you've got to go full strength in all your cup games if you're a team out with Celtic and Rangers, because that's your best avenue to win something. But Hearts obviously in the conference as well, conference group, 8 games. It's going to be a very, very busy time. Liam Boyce, I think, is going to be out for a long time. I think they'll try and go and sign another striker, but I think you'll see a Hearts team tonight at absolute full strength to try and get through. Yeah, just some news coming in. Obviously, Hearts against Kilmarnock. Christian Doidge is away there to Kilmarnock on a loan deal. Yeah, I think that when Christian first came in at Hibs, I thought he done well. He scored goals, but since he picked up a bad injury, tore his Achilles, I think he's been a shadow of the player that Hibs signed. I don't think he's scored a goal in a year in the league, which is an astonishing stat. So I think that Hibs, it's good for Hibs to get Hibs' wage off the wage bill, but they have to go and strengthen. They have to go and sign another striker, maybe 2, because scoring goals has been a major issue for Hibs over the last 10 to 12 months. Yeah, just on that point, Ruffy, and other players moving, looks as if Jack Henry will leave Bruges, and I think he'll get his wish to get out because some of the treatment of him, I think, was pretty lousy. Looks as if he could be off to Serie A and Cremonese.
Well, I think he's done well, you know, and any time he's played for Scotland, you know, I don't think he's let us down, you know, and he looks a finished article, you know, he's what you see in a centre-half. He's comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he goes and wins headers, clears the area. So, no, I think he's done enough, you know, at international level and at club level as well for other teams to identify that he could do a job for them, and I hope he does, because I think he's got something to offer with Scotland. Yeah, and a Yeti out of Celtic on loan to Sturm Graz, and they've got an option to buy him. Great business for Celtic. Never going to play. You know, he's been a £5 million flop. Oh, he's been a major flop. You know, he came with a decent pedigree, but it's just not happened for him at Celtic for whatever reason. So I think for Celtic to get his wages off the wage bill maybe allows, you know, Ange Postecoglou to use that money to go and strengthen other areas of the team. Yeah, it's been poor from him. Johnny says Richard Foster has moved to the US. We know he's off to Detroit. Obviously he didn't want to go, but we pushed it through, Ruffy, you know, because some of the gear he was wearing on this show. Putting us to shame, wasn't he? Well, he was actually. I mean, honestly, some of the gear was, I mean, one bit of gear he had on cost more than my first car. Yeah. But even the cars he turned up in as well were just... They were good, weren't they? Must have just borrowed them, you know, and just brought them. Well, that's what you do, Ruffy. What you do is you don't do what you, Tam, or myself decided to do, which is to marry for love, which was a real mistake. Obviously, you the double whammy that I had, where you married a Rangers fan. Yes. Skint Rangers fan. Yeah. Well, speak for yourself. But nevertheless, and who did Maggie support, Ruffy? Nobody. No, she's never been. Not into football. Just me. Yeah, well, there's no doubt. She would have loved to have, if we were together when I was playing. I think she'd be a big supporter. Yeah, I think so too. By the way, but you're right. Did your wife go to the games to see you?
When I was playing, yeah, all the time, aye.
Cool.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely magnificent. That's what we need. We need somebody to...
Said one support on the stand.
Yeah, absolutely. When you, was she there the day you rubbed your hands for your volley at Ibrox?
No, long before. No, it was...
Oh, you're single.
I was single now.
Yeah, okay.
Singling, mingling.
Brilliant. Okay. So, as far as Derek McManus is concerned for Kilmarnock, obviously he's relishing this one. This is going to be a really tough game to try and get a result out of Hearts.
You know, with a tough league start, but now the draw, we go to Tynecastle, which is on paper probably the third hardest draw we could have got at the time. But at the same time, it's important that we try and see the opportunity that's there for us. We want to have a good cup team as well as a good do well in the league. We try to play cup football as a newly promoted team in the league, so it's just another game for us and another cup tie for us, and we want to try and be good in the game.
Yeah, Derek McManus. Tam, are you starting to sway towards what Ruffy was suggesting, that Killie will be relegated?
Yeah, well, I think they'll be in the bottom three. I don't see... You know, I don't think it's Christian Doidge an upgrade on Kyle Lafferty. I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest. So I think he's got to sign, you know, 2 or 3 quality players because I don't think his squad's strong enough. And I think they will be happy to stay up, I think, this year, Kilmarnock.
Okay. What are you going for in that one, Ruffy? I'm going Hearts to win.
I'm going to go Hearts to win 2-0.
Yeah.
3-0.
3-0. Okay. Try and come out with the opinion quicker, lads, because on the podcast it sounds as if it's dropped out. You do. Nothing like a 2-second pause, eh, Ruffy? Motherwell against Inverness Cali. I'm going to that match, Ruffy. Really looking forward to it. Stevie Hamill mentioned, just like some of his players yesterday, that getting to Hampden is the key for the Fir Park side.
Yeah, it is. It's you know, get some fond memories of doing that, but again, it doesn't happen easily. It's going to require us to be at our best. That is the goal, but we're not looking anywhere, any shape or form past Inverness tomorrow night.
It'll be interesting to see if Stephen Hamill's got enough time to get players in, Ruffy, but he's against an Inverness side that haven't had it too good in your division. They've lost to yourselves, lost to Morton as well.
Yeah, I was disappointed with them against us, you know, and I didn't expect Morton to go up there, particularly at Inverness, and get a win there. So I think they've got 3 or 4 players, big players, out injured. So maybe when they come back again, they'll get back to where they were. I still think at the end of the day, there will be a force in their division, but I can't see them winning this one.
No, Motherwell to scrape it 1-0 for me.
Yeah, I think tight. Yep, Motherwell just to scrape it.
Livingston Dundee United. Livingston will be looking to try and get back to winning ways against a Dundee United side that, well, there's reports that Big Dunk would be open to taking the job. It'll be interesting to see who they actually try and get.
Yeah, I think he was obviously the one I think the supporters would want. Don't think he would stand for any nonsense in the dressing room. Whether he's got that knowledge of Scottish football, you know, as remains to be seen. But I think he'd be popular with the supporters. Obviously started his career at Dundee United and done really well and got them a big fee. So I think he's definitely one that could be, you know, in the shake-up to get that.
Yeah, and it won't matter that the manager hasn't had time to pick his own players, because Dundee United strike me as one of those clubs where they have a board that picks some of the players as well that come in, and their coaches. Am I out of order saying that?
No, I don't think so. I think that, you know, the players at Dundee United, I said earlier in the show, they've got a strong squad, and they seem to just they seem to spend money willy-nilly, to be honest with you. I don't know what their wage bill's like, Dundee United, but they've certainly, the owner has pumped money into them, and he's looking for a return. And you know, the recent results are, you know, not acceptable, and I think that's why they've pulled the plug on Jack. But you know, for the amount of investment that he's put into the club, they cannot be bottom of the league.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think tonight will be a wee judge of actually where they are. I don't think the Celtic game is, well, he has been judged on it, but I think this is the games that, you know, if they put in any kind of shift, they need to get the supporters back on board. They need to, because if they get caught down there like Aberdeen get caught last year, You know, it's very difficult to get out of that bottom 6.
Yeah, well done to Thomas McDougall, who's obviously given us his prediction for the game tonight. Dundee United to win 9-0 against Livingston. So if
an instant bounce back then.
Well, I was just about to say, if that happens, Thomas, we will bring you in here to the studio. He can sit on the couch and we'll give him a goodie bag to take away with him. Is that fair, Ruffy?
Yeah.
Give him the keys to your house.
I've got the keys for your house.
Yeah. So that's fair. You can see it coming out, the smile on his face. Okay, last night I did catch a wee bit of Leeds United Everton. Everton sometimes they look bang average, and then they put some nice football together. They're a strange side. I think Frank Lampard's really up against it.
Yeah, Leeds should have beat them. Leeds had a great chance. I think they were the better side all night.
Do you think they were the better side in the second half?
I thought they were the better.
Everton too gilt-edged.
I just thought Leeds overall were the better side, but you know, Everton's grounded result. Young lad Gordon scores again. Very good player.
Yeah,
very good player. You can see why Chelsea are getting linked to him, and I think Thomas Tuchel could be on a shaky peg.
Well, it's funny, Southampton defeating them.
Yeah, they've had a poor start to the season, and again, you know, the owner at Chelsea, well, the new owner at Chelsea is not going to stand for the amount of investment that they're putting in to be challenging for the league title.
That was obviously at the Partick Thistle game. Did the boy Patterson get a game?
Yeah, he played well. He was player of the match.
Good, brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent. Here's the English Premier League fixtures tonight if you were watching them. And it's Bournemouth against Wolves, Man City, Nottingham Forest, Arsenal, Aston Villa, West Ham, Tottenham, Liverpool, Newcastle and Leicester against Manchester United. And I have to tell you, Brendan Rodgers had something to say about Leicester and their recruitment policy at the minute.
I think I mentioned before that any environment that where you can develop in has to be stable. And at the moment, our environment, the stability is not there for various reasons, and I think that'll change quite a bit once the window closes. But I think this window has been a real challenging window for us. There's absolutely no question about that. Players that maybe thought they were moving on that are not, hoping to get players in to improve and help. Obviously, hasn't been able to be done.
Oof! I've heard that speech before, by the way. That's a Brendan. If there's a bridge to get out, he'll get out.
Yeah, I think he's obviously a pointed message at the board there. To be fair, he's not had a lot of money to spend, and he's going to lose some of his better players.
Yeah, well, Fofana's joined Chelsea.
Fofana's tremendous, defender. He's losing a lot of players and no backing him. And Brendan likes a few quid to spend, as we know. So he's not going to sit there and stand for that as they continue to plummet down the table.
That's a wee interesting one, isn't it, Ruffy?
Yeah, his stock's nowhere near where it used to be. It's a difficult one that he came out and have a wee go, or not a side go at your owners, because these owners do put a lot of money into the club. I don't know what he spent in comparison to the other teams down the bottom of the league, but he really knows that he has to start winning games, because they don't mess about at the bottom of that league.
Yeah.
We're sort of shocked that Jack Ross goes after the amount of games he's got, but down in England, 4 or 5 games, nobody bats an eyelid if you remove them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, some people bat an eyelid if you have a wee dig at the board, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Stephen says, Brendan looking to leave, methinks. Yeah, absolutely. We've all seen that movie before. I have to tell you right now, thank you to so many of you for posting your messages and, of course, trying to keep it decent. We do really appreciate your support. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll get all the notifications, and we'll get really some exciting stuff on the way. And just before we go, Ruffy, I saw an interesting article on the BBC. It was an insight into people who collect football sticker albums. And there was one boy today who actually mentioned that to get all something like 670 stickers for the FIFA World Cup 2022 album, how much money do you think you have to spend on average for a kid who loves the stickers and wants to try and get all of them and get the World Cup book full? Now, bearing in mind, Ruffy,
670 stickers.
670 stickers.
So I'd say
you usually get 5 in a pack.
You get 5 in a pack. But how much money do you think? For a kid?
£1,000.
Doubles and trebles.
£1,000?
Not as much as that, 500.
I'm asking you. I said £1,000 to put the fear of God into you. You did that?
Well, I think it'd be
$1,000?
a fiver for a pack of 5 or something, or a pack of couple.
No, a fiver for a pack of 5.
I'm not getting kids, so you're probably right. Next.
You £1,000?
Right, 1,000.
What do you say, Ruffy?
I would say a packet would be
And remember, by the way,
20p.
I'm talking total for all the stickers.
20p a packet and
Yeah.
600. I would say something like £400.
£400, not a bad shout actually. The guy reckons that because it's so difficult, you're getting doublers all the time, it's close to just under £900.
Wow.
£900?
That's the far away. I thought it was miles away.
No, you weren't. £883.80 was the expert who said that for the Qatar 2022 book, you need to spend, I think £883 ridiculous. I mean, honestly, I've got the 74 World Cup book finished and the 82 one, which is in
It's certainly worth more than 880 quid.
Well, they're worth a lot more. They're completely full, and Ruffy's Barnet in the 82 one is a belter.
Right.
But
better keep that locked up just in case I get into the toilet once.
Yeah. Get it down your joking away. But it's a good book, Ruffy, isn't it?
Oh, it's a fantastic book. But you're right, it's the doublers that cost you, because there's not everybody likes, somebody that you've got that you really want to swap.
Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of people just mentioning it's a crazy amount, says Stephen. Yep, Colin Stewart says £900. Absolutely outrageous, that type of money. And kids have to look and swap the doublers and see if they can get the players they want. I wasn't swapping you for anybody. And Billy's just reminded me, do you remember that? We used to do the stick and you go, got. Yep. Take that one.
You used to go, 5 Allen Ruffs. Don't take them off, mate. 5, please, get rid of them.
For five Allen Ruffs for one Hector Chumpitas of Peru. Brilliant. Anyway, happy memories. Thanks to Stephen and Marlon and Billy and Aldo. So many people. Stephen as well for contributing to the programme. Panini stickers. Happy days, happy memories. Thanks to Tam, thanks to Ruffy, and from myself, Peter Martin, PLZ 24/7. Don't forget, if you download the app, you get all the breaking football stories, and you can watch the programme on your phone at any time. There's lots of content there for you to peruse over, and hopefully you'll join the football family. Thanks for watching.